Hey everybody, Scott here, and this is the latest edition of the art of our educational series where we're going to be talking about the art of pitching. And I think that this is really an important section for you to learn and grow from, because I think a lot of people kind of have some misconceptions about pitching, and this is a chance where you can really make some connections with that editor or agent. But if you aren't really paying attention to this one, you're going to screw some things up. So we really want to make sure that you're in great shape for this. So let's go ahead and talk about what is a pitch. And what you'll notice here is that the pitch, I want you to think about this. It's a job interview, people. That's what you want to think about. You are applying for a job as an author with an agency or with a publisher. That's what you're doing. You're not just selling your story. And I think that that's a huge misconception that a lot of people have. They think that, again, it's all about the story. But the reality is that this is not just about the story. This is really about you selling yourself as a product, and you're selling yourself and your story together. And you want to think about it that way. So as long as you keep thinking about this being a job interview, you're going to be in great shape. I want you to also remember that this is your chance to clearly demonstrate to us why your story is worthy of publication. You're not just sitting here saying, let me just tell you my story is really good. You're really trying to show us. So you have to really put it out there on the table for us. So I want you to be aware of that piece. Now let's talk about the structure of a pitch, really what goes into that whole pitch session. And I'm going to be talking about this, first of all, for fiction novels, because I think that that's an important piece. But I want you to also understand that we're going to be talking about that pitch session that you're going to be doing on a one-on-one basis. It might be in a Zoom room, but it might also be face-to-face. I want you to be aware of that structure. Know going in what you're going to be seeing here. Now, the odds are if you've signed up for a pitch session, so let's talk about this. I'm going to move my chair here. As if it's a face-to-face type of thing, you're probably sitting in a ballroom type of area. And what you're going to have is you're going to have a section of that room that's set aside with all these chairs for all the people who are on each round of when you're going to be coming in and pitching. Then you're going to see the other, either in another room or maybe even in that room, all the editors and agents in an arena type of format, and they're all just sitting behind tables. And when it's your turn, it's time to move. So you're going to be called, and then it'll be time to move to your select table for your chance to pitch. Now, I want you to understand that these pitches are going to be anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes in length. These things are not going to be anything beyond that. So 5 to 10 minutes in length. You might think that that's not a lot of time, but the reality is that the moment that they say it's your time to move, that clock starts moving. And you're going to get to that table, and the time that it takes of, hi, my name is here, blah, blah, blah. How's your conference going? And all of that socialization, that's clicking away the time. So you need to make sure that you are very aware and conscious of every ounce of that time that you have available. Your editor is going to do something such as, so tell me about your book. That's what they're going to ask. They're not going to go ahead and dive in and start begging for information. They're just going to simply say, what do you have for me today? Let me hear that information. So you're going to be prepared for that. Now, what do we want to hear at this point? You're going to come in and you're going to tell us some basic information. You're going to tell us the title of your book. I don't want to hear, well, I've got kind of a working title, or I haven't really titled it yet because I know that you're going to change it. No, tell us the title of your book, because that's what we're recording. That's what we're keeping track of. Tell us what the genre is, not multiple genres. Tell us what the genre is for your book. Tell us the word count, not the page numbers, but your word count. And those first three start shaping where we're thinking that potential book can go to. That's helping us along. Then you get into telling us what the high concept of the book. What's going to set your book off among for everybody else out there? Don't just tell me it's a coming of age story. Everything's a coming of age story. I want you to tell us what makes this book special. What is it? How is it it's crossing over to a lot of other things? And then you're going to tell us the basic plot of your story. That's the start, the beginning, the middle, the end. Who are the characters? What's the setting? What's the conflict? How's it solved? You might throw in the theme of the book. You might throw in some comparable titles. Now, if you decide to throw in those comparable titles, don't just throw out some names. Tell me why your book is similar to those other comparable titles. So be prepared for that as well. Then you're finally going to end up with a question and answer section. And this is your chance to answer those questions that the editor comes up with. And they might ask you some things that you left off. They might be interested in some other things, other projects that you're working on, or some awards or something else. They're going to ask you those questions. Be prepared for those. Now, let's go ahead and let's move into some basic information about your pitches. First of all, pitch only with a completed manuscript. End of story. If your story is not finished, if you are still in the middle of it, you should not be pitching that story to us because we're immediately thinking again about where this story is going to go to. We might even have a spot for this book. Okay, but if your book's not finished and it's going to take you another 3 to 4 months, I'm sorry, I'm not going to trust you anymore. The odds are that that place is gone at this point. And there's a lot of people who have told me that they're going to get a book to me and that book doesn't show up. You know something? I'm not fighting for it anymore. I'm not really going to be looking for it. The odds are that's gone to somebody else. So make sure that you pitch only a completed manuscript. Make sure you only pitch also to the people who truly represent what you write. I don't care if there's an opening available and you thought you'd just try something out. If I don't represent what you write, you're wasting your time. Don't pitch to me. So, for example, I only represent print, romance, women's fiction, everything from categories of 50,000 words up to single title. If you turn around and you say that you have a book of romantic poetry, you're wasting my time. I'm going to tell you no. So make sure that you're presenting that material only to those people. I want you to really think about it this way as well. And I'm going to repeat this a little bit later. But if you think about it, you getting that chance to make that pitch right there, right at that moment, you had a chance to make that pitch and you're pitching it to somebody who doesn't represent it. You just took it away from somebody who might have been able to use that slot. Okay, so only sign up for those people that you need. Never read your pitch. Okay, this is a big mistake. Again, think about this. You are doing a job interview. Do you walk in and they say, tell me about yourself and pick up your resume and read it to them? No, you tell us about yourself. So don't read your pitch to me. And if you tell me you're going to forget something about your book, a book that you've been working on for anywhere between 3 to 6 months, maybe in a year, and you don't know enough about it, we got a problem right there. So make sure that you're doing that. Now, some people are going to go, okay, well, if I won't read it, I'll memorize it. Nope, not going to work either. I'm going to give you a real big hint here. If you pitch to me and I see you pulling out cards, I'm going to go, can I see those? And I'm going to take them from you and I'm going to say, now tell me about your story. If you start to get cranking into a memorized speech, I'm going to interrupt you intentionally to kind of blow that cycle to make you talk to me. Because when you talk to us about your story, you're really telling us truthfully what your story is about, not what you've crafted it to making it be something that maybe it's not. Okay, so never just memorize your speech, just talk it through. Be prepared to expand on other items. If I ask you things such as, tell me, what do you think the theme of your story is? You better be prepared for it. If your book is already sold and maybe you've self-published it and now you're trying to take it to a traditional publisher, I might turn around and say, tell me what your sales numbers are. I don't want to know your Amazon reviews. I want to know how many books you've sold. I want to know, maybe I might say, so have you already pitched this to other places? You better be prepared to tell me, yeah, I pitched it to all these other places. We got to know this information because it's going to shape what we can actually do with that particular story. Now, let's talk about some keys to success here. Number one, professionalism. This one's really important. It's a job interview, remember? So professionalism, how you dress, how you present yourself is going to be important. If you go to a working conference and in between your workout sessions and going to the gym, you swing in and pitch a story, you're not telling me you're professional. So that means you go back up to your room, you dress professionally. Yes, this is going to sound so stereotypical, but women, do your hair, do your makeup, fix things up. Guys, make yourself look good. at least a casual business outfit is appropriate. Okay? This is a job for us. We expected a job for you. Your attitude, too. Your attitude should be that of being a professional. Again, job interview. I've had a lot of people who come in and go, oh, this is my first time I've ever pitched a story, so I'm just not really sure. You're telling me you're not ready to move on. So you need to have that attitude, that you have that can do type of attitude. And again, think about your language. How you talk is appropriate. Okay, it's oral communication. It is a job interview. It reflects who you are. So make sure that you have that professional tone to it. Make sure you know exactly what we want. Now, this goes beyond simply the genre. If you've done your research on maybe what I like, you should be able to use maybe words that I've used in blog posts or here on these videos. You should be able to use those things. You should know whether or not I approve of and have no problem with, or I hate, say, adultery in any type of a romance novel. Now, I'm going to leave that one up to you. You got to try to figure that one out. Um, but the thing is, if it's you should know that, and you should be really clear and be prepared to either argue for it or against it or something along those lines. Make sure that you also know your book inside and out. Again, things like if I ask you something about the backstory of your character, you better have that information right off the top of your head. And then be prepared to talk about other books as well. This might be your first book. That's okay. What are some other things that you have? Remember, we're signing you for a long-term commitment here. We're not signing you just for a one-hit wonder. So we want to kind of know about other potential projects that you might have along the way. Now, let's talk about our big list of nevers. These are the things we never want to see. Again, never pitch a story that's not finished. Okay? This one's really, really important. If it's not ready to go, I better see that story in 14 days. If it's not there, you have no business pitching that story at this point. Again, don't pitch to people who don't represent what we write. Okay? It isn't like, well, I thought that maybe you'd change your mind, or maybe I thought that you would, maybe you were only looking for this, but you also represent this. It means that you haven't done your research. Okay? Don't pitch just to practice. This is a big one. I hear this happen a lot of times. I've heard people, chapter presidents, writing chapter presidents, saying it's okay, go ahead and pitch. It's a practice session. You can use it for practice. No, you don't go to a job interview for a practice. You don't pitch for practice. You pitch as if you are ready to make that next move to a professional type of level. Also, don't just pitch a session and sign up for a session just to pick our brain. I've had people who do that, who'll sit there and say, I really don't have a story. I just wanted to kind of talk to you and get to know you. No, there's time to do that outside of that. We are on social media. We are at those conferences in the hallways. That's the time to talk to those people, not taking up that time. The final one is never argue with us. If I tell you your story is not right for me and here's the reason why, don't sit there and try to tell me that I'm wrong. Don't try to argue something with me. Just kind of go, okay, and move on. That maybe told you something, maybe either about your research, about me, maybe it's your research of who you're going to. Okay, but you don't ever argue with that person because again, if you need to come back to me for anything, I already have a note that says you were kind of argumentative. You didn't weren't willing to listen to me. That'll be a problem. Always. I'm going to wrap this up here. Hopefully, all of this made some sense. It's nice, short, simple, sweet, and to the point here. But and as always, here's what I want you to do. Hopefully, first of all, you liked everything that you heard here. But if you like this, I want you to make sure you like this video here. Make sure that you click that like button. Subscribe to the series. Remember what I've told people is that after our 1,000th subscriber, I am planning on going ahead and taking one of those subscribers and we're going to create a mentorship program, at least a 6-month mentorship program for you. It's not representation. I'm not representing your book, but I'll work with you on your book, give you some feedback, help you out with query letters, whatever that might be. If you think that you've got some colleagues who would like this, make sure that you share this with them. Let them know about this program. Get them involved as well. Make sure you follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook. Make sure you get out there. Cruise over to my blog post. That's Scott Egan at blogspot.com. Make sure that you check me out over there. Go over to the website. If you're interested in submitting a manuscript to me, go to my website. All of the information is there. It's pretty straightforward. There's no questions of like, I don't know what to do. It's all pretty straightforward. So make sure you do that. And then finally, make sure that you invite me to your writing chapters. I can do things with you virtually. I can also come and meet with you guys face to face. I can judge contests for you, do newsletter articles, blog posts, you name it. I'm here for you. That's going to be a big one for you. Now, finally, this is your biggest, as always, reminder, and it's something that comes from Ray Bradbury, and I always want to make sure we remind people about this. You only fail if you stop writing. If you stop writing, that's when you fail. Keep writing, keep pushing, keep growing, keep learning. I have faith in you that I really think that you have a lot that you can probably do. It may take a little bit longer, but as long as you keep pushing, you should be in great shape. I look forward to seeing you later out here on these videos, and make sure that you stay in touch. We'll talk to you soon.